tonight my task is to share with you what is considered avenues of service. Um, so one of the first things about that is that we have to realize that, as it says here, I'm a Rotarian, so you must be a Rotarian to work with it. And it's the way the context is introduced that as a Rotarian, you must get into this service attitude. And of course, our motto, which you see repeated, continues to be the foundation or the platform from which we work, service of ourselves. What is Rotary? Is Rotary charity? Is Rotary a service club? Is Rotary a business club? And these are questions that are constantly asked because, and there are other questions, whether we're a fraternity club. There are other questions that are asked to find out whether who we are. But basically, we're not charity. We don't just give handouts to people. We just don't service people with what we have. Or we are not just a business club that we sit down and talk about business. No. I wish we could define that. And maybe in context here, we can say that we are a family. And that's all we are. We're a family. Is that good with you? Should I change that? Anybody? Huh?
You
I don't
are
hear you.
dead. You are dead right. Rotary is family.
That's what Rotary is. So you heard it from our DG. That's what Rotary is. Yeah? Anybody wants to bring a new perspective to that? Hmm? No? Okay, so let me just enlarge this and we will roll on. So I just wanted to play with that, let you see it morph right there in front of your face. You know, we are family. I could make this as big as you want me to make it, but we are still going to be family. And that's important. So that one of the things that you know that we are just not where am I here? Move. Right. So we're not doing these three things. We not, as I said, that's not our motivation. What we have to look at is, of course, we're family. And we work integrately as a family, having the structure which you would learn as you go along. There's a structure with RI President International, and then there's a board, and then it comes down to districts, and every district has a district governor and assistant governor. Or we have assistant governor, about 3, 4 in our right here in Trinidad, because we're so big, and we have our own southern cluster assistant governor that you just met. So it's important to understand that Rotary has objectives, and it's important to find out those. One of those. There are 4 basic objectives that Rotary has to encourage and foster the ideal of service. And you recognize you see this word as we go along very often, because that's who we are. Service-oriented to, as a family, integratedly, not service as just doing something to get points or to get be less program or to get some kind of accolade. No. So we want to encourage enterprise and encourage and foster the development of acquaintance as an opportunity for service, high technical standards in business and professions, the recognition of worthiness for all useful occupations, and dignifying of each Rotarian's occupations of opportunity to serve the society, the application of the idea of service in each Rotarian's personal basis of community life and the advancement of international understanding, goodwill, and peace through fellowship. A will of fellowship, professional persons united in the idea of service. You will see these things repeated as we go along. Because why? It is so cohesive and it's integrated as we go along. Even the objects are integrated, and out of that, we find ourselves working the 5 avenues of service. Now, it's important to see that these avenues of service are key to the functioning of the club. So the club will functions out of people identifying out with these 5 areas. So we have club service where we have fun, build lasting friendship, that was the 2 words, and make sure that our club functions well. Through vocational service, we volunteer our professional skills and serve others and promote integrity in everything we do. Through community service, we address local needs and work with our community to bring lasting improvements. Through the national service, we meet the humanitarian needs around the globe and promote understanding and peace. And through youth service, we work with young people to help them become the next generation of leaders, missionaries, and peacemakers. So you realize that there's a lot of activity here, not just that resides within the club, but you realize it takes you beyond the club, as our AG was saying. So you are affecting more than just a group of people called Point 14 Rotary Club or the Rotary Club of Point 14. You are affecting, let's say, the southern clusters of Penal and Princeton and San Fernando and some other stuff, but you're also affecting Point of Pierre and even all the way to Tobago. There are 2 clubs in Tobago. So you are affected, and we go through the islands, and we are in this district of 7030, and we go from St. Kitts all the way back down to Suriname. So there's a lot, and then there's so much going on here. But tonight, just want to grab you with this very intimate context of what we do and how we work the club. We will have other opportunities to look how we work the world. So let's look at everything we do. The club service, it's a call. The club is dependent on the members to take charge of various committees, fostering fellowship and camaraderie. And that's why the club service does, to make sure that we are maintaining that family identity. The club service chair also ensures the cohesiveness of the club as a body in the responsibility of the committee commitments. So every committee has commitments, and so that the club service also encourages that cohesiveness and make sure that you are settled and you're working together. So therefore, again, that context of care and integration one with the other. Vocational service. I'm that chairperson. Oh, I should say to you before we go, club service. The club service person isn't here tonight. That's past president and past assistant governor Annie. But I am here as vocational service chair to aspire and to high ethical standards in the occupation, to recognize the worthiness of all useful occupations and contribute their vocational talents to the problems and needs of society. So if we have social workers, artists, gardeners, engineers, whoever we have, graphic artists, we use those skills to enhance the needs of the society. But what is great here is that you realize that you just can't do it as having a vocation. You have to work along with it. That's how the integration comes, so that you find yourself working with the community, so the people who will then use your skills to establish that particular project. To define up each Rotarian's occupation as an opportunity to serve again to society. And we want to make sure that you appreciate your vocation. We have something called classification, which is important to also to know that this are the girls noting of vocation. So that for me, my classification is educator. And so out of that, I am a lecturer and counseling psychologists. So basically, this kind of thing, no, not kind of thing, sorry, this position of club trainer or even a vocational service fits quite well. And sometimes I have been other chairs, of course, but although this kind of fits the classification very well. And some of you will find that fit as you go along to really maximize what you do. So vocational service really empowers each community through their occupations, and then they empower the communities with their needs. Community service, we see we get into that community services. This community proposed Rotary to the public and foster understanding, appreciation, and support for our programs. In particular, the community also works closely with public image to contact the media with stories and of projects and events, because the community is just not going out there. They have to be publicized. People have to know we're coming. People have to know what we're doing. So again, I hope you see the integration. It's exciting that each committee does not work as an island. We are really connected. Our community service chair is right in front of you, Mr. Brent Batiste, very, very, very talented, and must commend him. He's been doing a great job over even in the COVID season, in the pandemic time. It's commendable. But again, he doesn't work alone. He works with the public image chair, who is Shedron, our president, and they both work together in terms of post project and pre-project and post-project, so that there's advertisement for what's happening, and there's pictures taken, and then we put it up on our website and Instagram and Facebook, and so that people are aware of these programs in particular, so that and to contact the media with stories and projects and events in the district and share the stories through social media. Promote, of course, the End Polio Now campaign, which is one of our key signature activities. It doesn't take a committee for this, it just takes being a Rotarian for this. And that's community service in context. We have international service. It is, and I borrowed a little emblem here from a club, international service with all these flags. But basically, the advancement of international understanding, goodwill, and peace through a world fellowship of business and professional persons united in the ideas of service. Again, professional is there, service is there, fellowship is there, goodwill is there. Again, that integration. Family, family, family. Now, I used to be international service. The first year, I was there for 7 years. It was like, what? What do you do? International, where do you go? One I think that the important is to reach out to the what is called RI convention, and to make sure that there was that kind of identity. So you brought some perspective in terms of advertising, sharing. But from the local perspective, it was important to connect. And I made efforts several to connect with other groups, and I did. But of course, time and space and people's activities, having to nail down certain projects, which was initiated already. And I have initiated, especially in St. Vincent, I initiated 2 projects. One was we were about to get going, and then there was something in St. Vincent that changed it, and then the other one, COVID came, and there was also something about Barbados. But it is important to see how we can connect internationally with other groups and bring concepts and ideas and share again through your professional positions and interests. And so one of the things about this is that it has established these 4 things here: funding. You can work internationally in what we have as grants. So you could have a grant with another club, not maybe in your own district, Trinidad here, but we could do something with somebody in St. Kitts or Guyana and work together in doing a particular project. You heard our AG talking about going to going to Las Vegas and doing something with street children. Um, so that kind of thing, international service. There's a needs assessment context to see what the needs are there. I suppose now is a good time for this with the COVID-19 pandemic, and there are a lot of needs. Sustainability, how do we keep people going in terms of interests and functionality, executional skills, making ourselves more viable through our skills. And so international service is quite a very interesting component of the activities within Rotary. Uh, Last but not least, we have our youth service, which is now called New Generations. And that takes up, like we have here, Youth Exchange, Ryla, Interact, Rotaract. And so that it recognizes the importance of empowering our youth and young professionals through leadership development programs such as Rotaract, a service club for young people aged 18 and above. It used to be 18 to 30, but recently that has been amended and 18 and above. So even somebody in their 40s could be a part of Rotaract. But usually at 30, before you will leave Rotaract and come into Rotary. Now you're free to stay. But what we're seeing across the world is that there are people who are both in Rotaract and, of course, being older than 30 to come across to Rotary. So they're both in Rotaract and Rotary. Interact, a club for high school children age between 13 and 18 is designed for the members to have fun while contributing to the community and learn about the world. This is, of course, as you say, senior high school. So like in Point 14, we do have an Interact club at the Holy Name Convent. And we are hoping, of course, to spread that to other high schools or within the secondary schools within the Point 14 catchment. Our RILA, Rotary Youth Leadership, and I always forget this A. Can I help you with that A, Chevron? President, do you know the if that A? I said that A just went out of my head.
Awards.
Ryla.
Awards. Awards.
Awards, okay. Awards. So it's a leadership program run by Rotary for young people between that age. And the concept is training for, it used to be for like a week, and you have different programs and different talks, and people will get together and in groups and have small groups, and you learn skills, or you're reflective of skills. And there used to be, of course, you go to the streets and you try to do programs. There's some projects sometimes, but now with COVID-19, it's all virtual. But it is a program to really create motivation and to establish that greater sensitivity for Rotary as a young person. There's youth exchange. Is a way to develop young people's cultural awareness, independence, international understanding. So students attend school and live with host families. Usually, this has happened here in Trinidad with clubs coming from England and the States. And I know that we have also sent a group at one time to London, to England. So it's not only during school time, sometimes it is done during the holiday time. Because during school time is difficult here because, of course, with the timings of different academic structures across the world. But it's a very interesting program. And I think the key thing here is cultural awareness, where you get into a different country with different people and see their lifestyle and appreciate the differences and work together as Rotary. One of the things missing here is EARLYAC, which is from 5 to 12. And that has been introduced for primary school students. And they, of course, would definitely have fun and do projects, do things like clean up for the school property or build some what's good, should I say? Maybe like have a stove. You do something and you make them bring tins, and then you take those tins and you give them to the needy or to students who don't have. So you do all these kinds of projects with them. But of course, the key thing for them between 5 and 12 will be fun. So that's youth service. Just to run back again, you have there are 5: the club service, the vocational, the community, the international, and of course the youth service. So these are the things, the areas and communities that you could be involved in and to understand. One of the things that you cannot, I must put in, is not the avenue of service, but it is Rotary, and it would be a remiss of me and with my age there, you must be saying you missed out the most important thing, and polio now. And we are glad to say that Rotary has been involved with polio for several years. And right now, with Rotary's intervention with polio, we are down to Afghanistan, and it's in Pakistan where there are just about 2 or 3 people who are just need to get rid of polio. But the rest of the world is polio free. And may I say, thanks to Rotary. So October 24th is usually End Polio Day, and there are activities across the world recognizing the polio to end. And we always that far, a little bit from ending it. So that is one thing you cannot escape as a Rotarian, the concept of how you're involved. And you're involved actually by sharing in your dues. Part of your dues go to the End Polio Now Fund. Okay, so the key thing again is service above self. It means that we leave our egos at the door and do what is best for the people we are serving. I trust that you are able to identify through your profession, through your skills, where you can serve, how you can serve. But to serve, you must serve above self. Thank you very much. Any questions? I have the answers.